My name is Rebecca McKenna, and I'm a sister of the CND living in Three Brooks, Nova Scotia. My involvement has been mainly in education, in theology, spirituality. I work as a spiritual director and as a retreat facilitator. And I think a special blessing in my life has been working with people in various different Christian communities and different faiths. I have learned so much working with people who have different paths to the sacred. Like many other women's religious communities in recent years, we've become aware that the mission of the good news of the gospel is not only for the human community. We have talked about widening our circles of compassion and care to include being faithful to the circles of relationship we're in, which are the circles of humanity, as well as the circles of all creatures, of landforms. Every 4 years we get together and we talk about what are the urgencies of our time that call us into mission. And the urgencies are the urgencies of Earth right now. And that includes the human, but it is broader. We had this dream of living on a piece of land, taking that land very seriously, learning about the land, what it needs to thrive, and what it has to give, and working in partnership with a piece of land. And so three of us came to live on this property, two of us at a time. We naively began to think we could do this work, but found that we needed to partner with people and gather people around us. We came up with 4 different foci for our time there, our work there. The first one is contemplation, and I think that just marks us as daughters of Marguerite and as religious, the desire to cultivate not only the land, but cultivate spirit, cultivate an awareness of God's presence, and then to live that presence in the world. So we've gathered a little group, about 25 people. They don't all come every week, but that come probably at least a dozen or 15. And we have contemplative prayer and, of course, a good tea. And then we talk about how do we live this in the world? This presence of God that is so powerful, how do we live that? The second part of our commitment is working the land. We garden and we produce quite a bit of food for our own tables. And we also can and preserve a good amount of our food. We have berries, and we have beans and peas and carrots and cucumbers and squash and beets. And so just that bounty, living in the bounty of that. And also the care of the forest. There are trails in the woods, so we try to keep those clear so people can come and walk on the trails. It's a wetland, so drainage is really important. So we have work with shovels by times. And again, our friends are good to come and teach us and assist us in that. Education is really important. That's the third focus for our group. And that's also Marguerite Bourgeois' great gift to Canada. And this is education for the new world of how do we live sustainably. And how do we teach people to, again, grow their own foods, which is going to be so important. So it is education for the new world, for the new land, for the new colony, in a sense. Yes, very much a liberating education, which returns to ancient ways, but also aware of some of the new ways of permaculture, and how to live sustainably with less energy and using less water. And so we're learning. We don't teach it, but we learn with others, and we invite people to come and learn this with us. The fourth area that we gather ourselves around in our mission is environmental advocacy. There are so many groups that are doing many things and raising our consciousness. We can't do it all, but we can link arms with those people who are making great strides to talk about the dangers of fracking. and what that might do to our water table. We also have gathered with people who are talking about deforestation. Here's our beautiful Acadian forest, and the desire is to cut it down and put monoculture there to make pulp and paper. So we link arms with a little group down the road who have preserved hundreds of acres of this forest as well, and are taking children into the woods to teach them about the woods and their home and what kinds of plant and animals are living there. I see that this encyclical it does many things. There's many different approaches within it. There's certainly language of ethical values and the common good, but there is a very rich appeal to the human spirit. Pope Francis in this encyclical appeals to affection, for us to rouse up the affection we have for the land and to act from that place. And many social commentators who have nothing to do with religion have praised this because precisely for that point, that what economics hasn't been able to convince us of, what science can't convince us of, but guess what? We take care of what we love. And the Pope has framed this encyclical in the words of St. Francis around brother, brother, sun, sister, moon. The Canticle of Creatures begins it. So right away he's saying that the earth is our brother and sister. In fact, he says it's a sister who shares life with us. Earth is a sister who shares life. How could we stand and watch that be destroyed?